Good morning. Good morning. We just going to kick the ball around for a minute before we jump inside. I'm going to just have some coffee with you. Hey, Tina, nice to have you. Nice to have you. Sup, dog? Sup, ghost? What's up, players? So, good morning, Lizzie. Sam, hey. So, what we're going to talk about this morning, guys. Good morning, Jennifer Johnson. Right now, people are like, what you got going, Benny? No yelling. So, what we're going to get into today, I guess Dan is waiting to see you live before making the video. So, yep, I'm just having my smoke and coffee too. We're going to get through this, and we're just going to do a recap, right? No, Lizzie, that coughing is perfectly okay. Thank you, my love, though. We don't do coke. I'm just kidding. Coca. Mucho de coca. So, last night, as you guys know, we had Ernie Shell from Predator Hunter Nation. I don't know why. I just, man, Jessica, you're damn right. That don't do shit. All I just use it is for a punching bag. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. I'm a scissor kick you in the throat. I know, Ghost. You know me. Lies, I hear your cough all day. Yes, 2 coffees running late. Drop the kiddo off, but don't drop them on their head. So, we had Ricky Bobby. Did you actually know that young boy, he actually died this year? Not the little crazy one, but the bigger brother. He actually died this year. So that's a sad thing. R.I.P. him. So last night we had Eddie from Predator Hunter Nation. And I feel like it was, that thing's dripping water now. Bust a hole! Hey Francine, I gave Eddie the opportunity to come up. I gave everybody a chance to get their shit off. All right. Everybody had a chance to get their shit off. And I feel like, Eddie did a nice job. I feel like Eddie was pretty professional. Seeing how he'd even been through some bullshit this week. So, spray bottle. Pine Sol? Thank you, Candace. Yeah, you know, I'm really I'm trying to grow, and I'm not forcing the growth, right? I'm just trying to do what the next best thing. What's the next right thing, Benny? Like, what is the next right thing, right? So I believe what we had was an opportunity, a real good opportunity to talk to a new focus of people last night, where um, we really had a chance to do some real awareness about the preservation of justice, right? Now, what comes with the preservation of justice? Well, if you are in the business of preserving justice, you're not going to get caught collecting evidence that you shouldn't be touching. Hey, Bob, you're not going to be caught handling tips that you shouldn't. Um, Let me give you a for instance. I spoke with a gentleman. I'm not going to go there today. Not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it today. I still have to speak with some law enforcement in Tennessee about a situation that I became made aware of. And if this gentleman is listening, sir, I'm a mandated reporter. I mandated myself to report any issues that have to do with children. Unfortunately, you made me aware of a situation with a child. Because I'm a mandated reporter, I must report it. So I know that he's going to see this and that there may be some animosity. And I assure you that's not what this is about, sir. What this is about is I can't handle, somebody can't tell me about a situation with a child and then expect me to keep that quiet. I'm the wrong one. You understand? I'm the wrong one. You can't tell me shit about no fucking child. Hey, Monkey Mark, you can't tell me shit about a child and then think I'm gonna hold that close to my vest. That's the wrong shit, sir. That's the wrong shit. I love you. I love you, sir, as a human being. And I hope that Altitude Films, Pamela, ALTITUDEFILMZ. FILMZ. You cannot tell Benny shit about a child that wasn't reported and expect me to keep that secret. Can't do it, sir. And so now, really, guys, what in relation to handling tips, right? When you handle somebody else's personal business and it's heavy, you have to be analytical enough to understand, what am I going to do? What can I do? What do I expect of myself from handling this information? What would Jesus do? Would Jesus hold on to a situation that he heard about a child and not turn that in? No, they wouldn't. So, sir, I cannot hold that secret for you, sir. I am contacting the authorities today. I will be contacting TBI and I will be contacting Child Protective Services in regards to this situation. Now, moving on from that. Woo! Wake up, Mar! Because when the volume goes up. So, guys, there is a lady by the name of Amanda. Now, what Amanda did was Amanda, bless her soul, Amanda, she, let's see here. What Amanda did was I love Amanda's honesty. right? I love Amanda's honesty. She is a badass, right? So what she did was she reached out to Cam and Allie over at Cracking Cases, right? And oh, I'm doing this backwards. Hold on. So what Amanda did was she had been having an issue as well. And guys, what I want you to do is go show Amanda some love. Amanda, she created a video about Jackie Dobbs. Now, what I like about what she did was she gave Allie and Cam a ringer, and she's like, Allie, Cam, oh my goodness, you put together a video that is exactly all the things in my head, but I just couldn't articulate them good enough to put them in a video to present my case. So this young lady, she saw what Cam and Allie put together. And what she did is she reached out to him and she was like, hey guys, you guys just hit the nail on the head. All these things is what I needed to see all put together and in this order so that I could put what I have to add. I have an addition to this. And so Cam shot me the video last night. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you the tail end, the portion that Vida, Amanda's life, put on the end of it, the new edition, right? So to preface all of this, what we know about Mr. Dobbs. Well, we know Mr. Dobbs was in the area. We know that Mr. Dobbs was over the line. We know that Mr. Dobbs had some alibi issues in regards to using his dog as an alibi. And that was disastrous, right? So where are we at here? Jump back into chat real quick, see how everybody's doing. Advocate, good morning. I will put a link to her video in the description. I'm just not going to do it right now. So I want to preface this by saying that we know that Jackie Dobbs has two vehicles, or had rather two vehicles in Tennessee. Now, of course, this thing is you have to use critical thinking on all of these things. So how did Jackie Dobbs drive both of these trucks to Tennessee? Or did someone help him carpool? Or did someone follow him? Did he potentially drive one truck and someone drove him back down and then he drove back up? So we have that issue with now it seems like there could be a second party involved with helping him get his things up here. Now, there is some talk going around that him and his wife are getting divorced. So, there's just some issues. We also Cam and Allie pulled I guess it would be the deed to the property that does kind of entail a portion of the Wells driveway. So what we've come to know is that we're fairly sure that this was the get around town and that he was sleeping in this vehicle. Okay. Now, Amanda, like so many others, with the screenshots, I myself, I don't know why I can't seem to get myself to create folders. Like this is a Jackie Dobbs screenshot folder. This is a such and such screenshot and so on and so forth. So I I take a screenshot, I use it, and I throw it away. And so I'm really, really bad about that. And that also cuts down, I believe it cuts into, my investigative time, right? The time that I spend re-looking for that content. I could have just saved a screenshot and went right back to it, immediately, right? So what we know about Jackie Dobbs is that he was all in the area. He was doing all the shit. He was, when he came back down to Georgia. Now, when he came back down, there's only one of him. So, did he bring both of his vehicles back down? Is one left there on the property? What is it, right? So, what Cam and Allie put together was a beautiful thing, but come to find out, it was incomplete, right? So, yes, Kate, what we're looking for is we're building a profile. Now, I would assume and hope that the bureaus of investigations that are involved have a profile for this gentleman already, right? So, what we're doing is you have to tailor fit a profile now. You don't have to, but it makes it much more comfortable in navigating the creation of a profile. Now, I'm not a profiler. I'm learning now, right? So you have to take all the character traits, all the personality traits that would most usually create a profile for any sort of abductor, right? They will have these commonalities, these common threads that you can start to identify, and you start to look. There you go, Elizabeth. So there is a lot involved, right? So you start building the profile, and you're looking for men that have, or women that have particular atypical personality stuff going on, right? These things would look like a relative familiarity with the woods, not just those woods specifically, but just being in the woods in general, right? There is a communication that you would use in the woods, right? Like, Jackie Dobbs, for instance, he probably could have had this whole situation, in regards to camping over the line. That could have been a different thing had he used his, used his voice and used some reasoning and used some forest talk. I mean, it's not a silly thing. It's like when two hunters with guns meet each other in the woods. That's not like a regular street conversation that's going on, right? There's other dynamics. So you start to look at the age-old things that criminals do after they've committed crimes, and that has changed, try to drastically change the appearance, so on and so forth. So you start to see that there are characters that we've unlocked in this timeline that do, they hold some of the characteristics that our abductor would, Amy Jones. I don't know why I got my eye on you, Amy, but I do now. So, guys, you got the iron. We're not playing no more. Somebody's playing. We're not just removing the comment and putting them in timeout. We're removing them from the channel. Okay? Matter of fact, Amy didn't want to talk anymore, guys. Sorry. Let's see. Where's Amy at? Where's Amy? Amy pops up again. Let her get the iron. She lost access. So, Jackie Dobbs, he's starting to possess some of these characteristics. I mean, he has always possessed these characteristics since the very first second we laid eyes on him. So, he's got these characteristics. He also left the area. Changed his appearance. Now, we've been told that they know definitively, it sounds like, that it was a late 2000, whatever, Toyota Tacoma. At this point, I'm not convinced that they know that that's for sure, because I think that if all this time you were asking for the wrong model truck and there wasn't someone in that area with the wrong model, with that model truck, you're asking for someone that doesn't exist. And so that may account for why we haven't seen the owner of a red Tacoma come forward, because it is very plausible at this point that the make and model was not Toyota Tacoma, right? So now you have a guy that's jumped out into this thing, right? He did a lot of posting of missing, abducted, and exploited children before this happened. And there did seem to be some sort of disconnect in why, what's the reasoning you are posting children's missing flyers all over, but then when a child that goes missing from a property that butts up to yours, there's seemingly no action. So no, you can't, Amber, you could never put money on a make and model unless you have a picture, letting right? So, that thing just sort of developed. I felt like it was like, it's a red truck. And then they really started to narrow down on, the characteristics that would make it very easy to see, right? Paint buckets, ladder racks, like that's all good and dandy, but those things are removable. Just like hair, just like beards. So, hey, Patty, we're building a profile and we're looking for the characteristics that an abductor might have: narcissism, impulsive decision-making. You start to see that Dobbs has some of these things, even in the way that he seemingly posts on the internet with kind of reckless abandon. And so now he's made his channel private, right? So we do know that Dobbs was contacted by TBI, and then I believe in person once the feds came. So we haven't heard anybody come on and say, okay, Dobbs specifically fucking excluded as a suspect. We've not got that, right? So absolutely advocate. He meets up with the profile 90% of the way. There's things about him we don't know about that could make up that other 10%. But we are absolutely in no way saying that he's exhibited any guilt or that he is guilty. What we're doing is we are mainly making a profile for the characters that are unlocked, and we're just taking a look at it. So I want to, with no further ado, I know there has to be some people in here that haven't seen this new updated information about Dobbs. So Dobbs, everyone knows Dobbs' change of appearance, correct? We for those that don't, I'm going to show you real quick how drastic his change was. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, I should have had this pulled open, but I just sort of came across. Okay, appearance. So everybody knows Jackie's appearance change, right? This is Jackie. What we thought was before the abduction, but it's safe to assume from day dot of abduction and then back in reverse, some period of time, this was the look, right? Now, the way that we all saw the way that broke down was that this was before and this was after, right? So what we have with Jackie is we have this ongoing reoccurring theme that Jackie has an issue telling a truth that we can understand in regards to making alibis for himself, right? So if you've seen Cam's video, Cam showed, he actually went to the roadway inn and he showed how the issue with the picture of Elvis, which is Jackie's dog, he used that as an alibi photo for where he was at the day she went missing. Well, now Cam and them, they did great work. They found out that picture was actually from 6 years ago. They go to the roadway in. They go to the exact downspout. Now, let me tell you guys, there's downspouts on the front of this building, right? There's downspouts on this end, and one in the middle. So they were at the right downspout. Now, what's interesting is the dynamic of the web, right? When someone sends you a text, you can't a lot of times infer the emotion or the enunciation or the meaning sometimes of the real statement, right? So Dobbs, one time you could understand, okay, well, he's made this mistake. Well, now this is twice that he has wanted or relayed information to whoever's watching in a way that suggests that something he's showing a picture of today is not actually from today. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can make that easy for somebody to understand that doesn't, but we're not going to take the time to do it. So he has a reoccurring MO of putting out stuff that's misleading. So with that being said, make sure we're still on the screen share here. Let's do this. Is that going to make it? No, that makes it bigger. There we go. All right. So we're gonna bring this down here. All right, we'll start here. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but I just want people to get an understanding of the discrepancies that we have with Dobbs.
They're a little bit confused, and they even tell her, if you.
I'm going to state the fair use disclaimer now. This sharing of media is for educational and constructive criticism. So we're not trying to exploit her video. We're just trying to show how what she added to it was very, very helpful.
If you don't, if you don't tell me why you sent me that, I'm going to have to tell law enforcement, which is kind of, you would think that that's a little bit serious for what, for having accidentally butt dialed somebody, but you're going to have to listen to this recording because it's kind of insane. So here it goes. And I will warn you that at the very beginning, it sounds like something's going on that's not going on in the background. I'll give you just a fair warning to listen to the whole thing before. Yeah. Let me turn up my volume. I guess that would help. Just a fair warning to listen to the whole thing before. Oops. Hold on a second. To the speaker this time. I didn't realize I was so far.
I want to move. Where's the pictures? Where's the pictures? That's what I really wanted to focus on. I should have found the pictures, guys. Okay, so
oops.
Dobbs. Okay.
I hadn't.
This is pertinent right here. Okay. Now, if you're not aware of this scenario coming up,
I didn't. Thanks, Amber. I didn't know if this stuff had been shown yet. I guess there's one of my subs right now is telling me that it was published in a Facebook group, but I hadn't heard anybody else talking about it. So I thought it would be worthwhile to correlate the two. So these are posts that people just found eerie and weird. There's also one, I think it's like 2 days before, I want to say, just to give it some time. But, oh no, I'm sorry, it's a week before. And it says, trespassers will be made into compost. Maybe they're just gardeners. Right. And then this one is the Prohibition. The property is not attached to the Wells April, not that I have seen or heard. During Prohibition, moonshiners would wear cow shoes. The fancy footwear left hoof prints instead of footprints, helping distillers and smugglers evade police. It's like, okay, cool fact. Kind of weird. Also, in the time of summer having been missing. Again, him giving himself an alibi was not in Ben Hill Road, Beach Creek area of Tennessee on June 15th. I have been interviewed by the TBI on the phone and 2 FBI agents in person. I do believe I have been cleared of any wrongdoing. Again, maybe so. He has been questioned.
I have to disagree, Amanda. No one has been cleared. Everyone is still a suspect. So, I really apologize, guys. I feel like I kind of dropped the ball in terms of having. I'm going to try to find it really quick. In terms of having this change in appearance for Dobbs. Okay. Now, okay, here we're getting into it. There we go.
4 of the troopers just left my house, praying they'd find her safe. And these were actually neighbors of Candace's. And these are pictures that the neighbor took of his truck as they were asking him to leave.
So you can see the items in there. He's got a cutting board, gas. I don't know if this is some sort of cooker or fryer. He's got something going on right now. Hold on a second. What we know about Dobbs is that Dobbs has been coming to the Hawkins County area for a minimum of 5 years that we know of. Okay. Now, why is that important? Well, for 5 years, he's been staying off and on at the Hawkins County Roadway Inn. What is Jackie's? What is his passion with the area? Why does he feel he needs to be there? And what makes him want to buy property in this area? You have some questions as far as motivating factors as to why. What does Jackie find so appealing to this area, about this area, right? So we know that he's been staying at the Roadway Inn, where I don't go stay at the motel because I don't want to be involved in none of the shit they got going on there. Prostitution, drugs, crime, all of the whole gauntlet of bullshit. I don't want nothing to do with it. So when I'm out of town, I don't go looking for the dopey hotel to stay at, right? Not even when it's a financial issue. Like, I'll sleep in my car like Mr. Dobbs before I go stay in a bad hotel. So you start to ask yourself, what is the attraction to the area? Now, I'm going to go ahead and let this play again.
I don't know if these have been out. I'm pretty sure they have, but these were sent to me. That was his truck.
Now, the one thing that I'll tell you that I had an issue with was that when you look at the picture of Dobbs, just his head, with the appearance change, something about that gives you a feeling that he's kind of a really old man that isn't active and is not, it's not, very physical. Now, when I see him in the full getup, he does have a different physicality than my detector was bent. I figured he's a guy that probably doesn't get around very good. But now because when you think of the context of him camping, like, it doesn't seem like that's real physical, but like, the guy is a pretty physical guy. You know, he's probably doing, you know, tree work out there on the property, you know, cutting trees, limbs, you know, just doing outside work. So Dobbs has taken on just a little bit of a different persona to me, based upon knowing that he actually is a strong guy and you know, very, very active, and you know, he's just ready to go. So I'm going to take the video a little more.
It's him packing up to go. And then that's him walking Elvis. And he had posted that was on Ben Hill Road. Also, one thing that I find odd that I haven't been able to figure out is this looks like his established residence. And right here, there's, you know, obvious surveillance of his property. But this is also the same room, I believe, where he took the picture of his shaved face, and then also the picture previously where he had said that his new camera worked well, so on and so forth. So how could he have been at two places, you know, in both places?
Right. I'm right where you're at, Amanda. Now, we just start to think of things in terms of, you know, when we're thinking of social media, a lot of times we forget the when, where, why, and hows, right? So in this picture, I ask myself right now, in this picture, you're seeing that his head is already shaved. Hoo-ah. So at first you're like, okay, this is Dobbs and his dog. I'm not entirely convinced that this is Dobbs. Okay. If you look, this man has sort of what they call I think they call it a hornet's nest. I'm not trying to be funny at all. But he has hair around the side and back. And when you look at other pictures of Jackie, it certainly seemed like he had a full head of hair. So, you know, you start winding, and I'm not saying Amanda did this. This is just stuff that was sent to her. So now, if that is Dobbs, okay, bear with me. If that is Dobbs, this picture or video screenshot, whatever this is, this was taken before Summer was abducted. So he would have already had a shaved head if that's him, right? Now, I can't say necessarily that I've seen anybody jump out of the box and say, no, that's not Jackie. I know him, whatever, right? Like we've not had any confirmation that this isn't Jackie or that it is Jackie one way or another. Now, this is a subsequent photo to another photo that was captured by a trail cam where they thought, this to me doesn't look like a trail cam. This looks like someone either driving by with a car or even walking with him, right? So you start to just question how some of these things were even created, how the images are a thing, right? So now the contention, or actually not the contention, the fact is that the photos that you've seen where there is sort of this unwritten inference that this haircut just happened today on the 18th of June. Now, through this video, they're able to prove that in fact his hair was cut before the 18th when he put it out there and said. So, did he cut it on the 16th, the 15th, the 14th, but just post it on the 18th? That's kind of, you know, that's up for debate as far as when he cut his hair and posted it. We know it was not the same day now. Where again, the inference was that you know, he cut his hair and then probably immediately took a picture like so many of us do. So let's move ahead a little bit.
So that was his truck. It's him packing up to go. And then that's him walking. Again,
I am not, this is I'm not downing Amanda. What I'm saying is I'm not completely convinced that that's him. Moving on.
Elvis, and he had posted that was on Ben Hill Road. Also.
Oh, okay. So I guess it is him. There you go. So if it's him and he's on Ben Hill Road, you start to ask who was with him that took the picture, right? So someone took a picture of him and his dog walking, and then he's posted that. So who took the picture?
One thing that I find odd that I haven't been able to figure out is this looks like his established residence. And right here, there's, obvious surveillance of his property. But this is also the same room, I believe, where he took the...
Now, I will tell you, it is not unheard of for Americans to have security cameras. But what I will say is that anytime I've seen someone watching, someone that has something available like that to look at in real time in regards to what's happening outside, I don't have a need, and I got thousands of YouTubers that hate me. I don't have a need to watch my security cam full time. So what I'm alluding to is that anytime I've seen, and this is just me, not speaking for anybody else, anytime I've seen someone monitoring their property in real time, they're selling something, right? Whether it be a store, a bank, a dope house, right? Like that's the vibe that I'm getting. I'm not saying that's it right now. I suppose the other thing that may qualify you to have something like this is if you're worried about knowing if someone's coming right now, right? So who is coming? I don't know, but it certainly is enough of an attractant to him to have this real-time stuff going on. So I asked you to ask yourself that. Why the need to monitor it in real time?
A picture of his shaved face, and then also the picture previously where he had said that his new camera worked well, so on and so forth. So how could he have been at two places, in both places? I haven't figured that out.
Well, you can't.
He is posting, the picture of his bare face in this room again. Obviously, he was probably back in Georgia, as people are saying. He left the next day, but this would be his bedroom and his surveillance system that shows his little red truck, and I think it's his dog probably right there. Okay, so here, this is previous to, obviously, to Summer having gone missing. But he's telling everyone that he's moving to Rogersville, Tennessee, that he's going to be going over there. He's talking about it a lot. He brings it up a lot. Thanks, Crazy.
Now, again, I heard from Cam. I haven't not seen the paperwork myself, but there is some talk that there is verifiable divorce papers that have been filed between Jackie and Mrs. Dobbs. So that could be part of. Sorry, guys. Neighbors going to work. Hold on. Well, shit, I guess he's going to be a second. Yes, Elizabeth, Cleveland, Georgia. That is correct. Now, Jackie made some commentary on his Facebook that that he was headed back to Georgia and that there was some issue with the property due to legal. He was going back to Georgia due to some legal issues. To me, to connotate that you're having some legal issues and you go back to where you came from, but you actually, in fact, did buy the property that you were visiting. I just find that whole scenario a little intriguing, to say the least. So I'm going to go inside, guys. Give me just 1 second. That with what we know about Dobbs having changed his appearance, and the unveiling of the appearance change seemed to be a little off time, which in the timeline, which is in fact, ordinarily, guys, when someone cuts their hair and posts it days later, like, we don't give it that much thought. We're not so stringently scrutinizing it, right? So this scenario, you could look the same. You could look at it much the same way. And I, you have to be unbiased, but at the same time, be able to move through these things. Well, you'll see. There you go. I've not seen actually this clip. I don't know how it got past me. But you got Jackie right here. He's in the propaganda, guys. Right? He's in the propaganda. He is. I mean, that's a big time story to be popping up literally in Dobbs's backyard. It is kind of his. I mean, it's like me posting all the stuff I do about kids, and then my actual next door neighbor, 13 feet away, their kid goes missing, and then I stop doing all of my advocacy and posting and keeping awareness up for whatever reason. But then, get right back into it. So I don't know, guys. I will tell you that Dobbs is absolutely not. I repeat, not ruled out as a suspect. So, to come online and say things like, well, I think I've been cleared. Sir, if you were cleared. There wouldn't be any trying to clear yourself or thinking, there is no limbo in regards to one way or the other, right? So I'm looking at Amanda's chat, and it says right here that he also tried to sell the red truck, if I'm not mistaken. So there's just a lot going on right here. I do feel like, with what we know, like, so you see him post pictures of 2 trucks. Well, it took some work to get 2 trucks in Tennessee, to get the Blazer and to get the S10 in Tennessee. He didn't drive both of them there. So you start to ask yourself, where's one of the trucks? If they're both gone, there's nothing on that property that he owns. Where and how did both trucks leave at the same time? That would have put another person in the scenario that we don't know about. So, there is starting to be those characteristics, in my opinion, that he may have had someone around him. And I just want to find out who that person is, because I can't take pictures of myself walking down the road and post them on my YouTube, but keep my arm. You can't see me selfieing myself, essentially. So, I just have these issues with some of the critical thinking aspects of what we're actually seeing, right? So, we have some neighbors here. Now, the pictures of him in the back of the truck, those weren't taken by anyone that was potentially with him. That was taken by the neighbor in which he had the verbal altercation with. And he wouldn't identify himself to the police. So you just start to get into some weird aspects and behaviors that are going on the property. Like the police are on the Wells neighboring property due to some issues with a guy camping over the line. That's is that a synchronicity? I don't know at this point. But I will tell you this. We know through CM's deposition of Hunter, Hunter stated, remember guys, Hunter said when Don called, he get real quiet so that he could try to eavesdrop on what was going on, right? And Don called while they were all together, and this is per Hunter, and said that there was an individual somewheres in the mix that was trying to, don't quote me on this, but this is what I heard, trying to touch kids or trying to talk to kids. So we know that from Hunter. That's not even from Don or Candace or Allie. Like, it came straight from Hunter that Don called Candace and said that are you there? There's someone on the property trying to, talk to the kids. So, break it down, guys. I don't know. You certainly could connotate that while Jackie may have been on one side of the property having a heated discussion with a neighbor, maybe someone that was with him was on the other side of the property trying to speak with some kids. I don't know. But if there isn't the second party, then what you end up it looks like, is that you've got Dobbs on this side in a discrepancy with the neighbors, and then potentially, allegedly, you've got Dobbs on another side trying to talk to some kids in a way that it got relayed back to Don, right? And then Don relayed that to Candace, and then Candace was like, "No, I'm out, I'm gone." Guys, let's just keep our critical thinking, and we will. I will be going into a little bit more of the Jackie Dobbs scenario, but I certainly am going to have it more laid out. To be quite honest, the conversation just kind of it took a turn, and I didn't have all my medias all lined out. So shame on me. But we do have the one time being profiled because you are a female works for you. Search for abduction suspect, not 0, but less than 1%. Absolutely, absolutely. That does put you in the far reaches of the minority, just out of proxy and stats, right? So we do have we got some issues, guys. There are some issues. So I do believe that another thing I want to touch on is that I'm really disappointed in the way that TIR has created all of this stuff, and then sort of just dropped the whole summer thing, right? Like it's not about summer anymore for a large portion of this community. I don't subscribe to TIR's way of thinking or anything that goes on over there. So anything that I'm reported to about over there, it comes from teammates that I trust, right? So I'm very disappointed in the way that whole scenario has taken the curve, because it's now about a hunt for justice, and it isn't. So how do you know that Chris M isn't really hunting for justice in regards to the SA victims? Is because he's giving them a forum to come on and put all their details out there, right? When we have civil, there we go, had an eyelash or something. When we have civil cases, we refer to those victims as Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, and then after the trial, if they decide they're going to do an expose or whatever their case was involved in, but the court makes it an environment that hides these women's identities for a reason, right? So when you've got a scenario like an ex-cop, who is now, what he's trying to get all of you guys to do is to divorce yourselves from what you know of justice, right? What he's doing is not the way he would do it if he was on the job and collecting a check and getting insurance and all of that. This is not, you don't do that, right? So what you've got now is you've got a scenario where some women allegedly have had an assault of some nature by Don, right? So when you try to take these into court, there's no vacuum, right? So why keeping things in a vacuum is so important is because during criminal trials, they love to keep things, they have to keep things quiet, because once you're in a criminal trial and you're going through the investigation, there are always going to be things that only the offender would know. So when you take away the power of a piece of evidence that only the offender would know about, and you make that public information for everyone, what you're doing is you're removing that trump card. You're removing the very thing that you use as either the first resort to get a conviction or the last resort. But you have now taken that away from whatever civic professionals, civil servants will be handling whatever cases could come from that. Now, what I'll tell you is that when juries are polluted and cases and depositions are out there and they've been scrutinized and they've been fucked around, there becomes this quantification for DAs, right? It's a risk assessment. They do a risk assessment on the exposure of the case online. You think I'm lying? Go check it out, right? They do a risk assessment of the exposure online, right? And so what they're not going to do is they are not going to take sexual assault cases that are flimsy and they can come on, and then you have the opponents of particular judges and district attorneys saying, oh, look here, he fumbled this sexual assault case, right? You think I'm playing. You think I'm playing, right? Richard Ramirez case. They dropped like 3 sexual assaults on children for one reason. You want to know what it was? It was because they weren't going to put children on the stand and re-injure them by making them speak about what happened to them. So you do start to play in, like defense attorneys automatically start to play in, 40 years gap. There's a 40-year void in any of this being brought to a head, right? So that becomes an issue because we know witnesses are notoriously and historically inconsistent, right? Victims are even historically inconsistent, even the day or hours after the incident, let alone 40 years, right? So really what's been created is it's just, my contention is that there will never be an SA case brought against Don ever. My contention is that there is now, we're looking at it, like looking it in the face every day. There's a high probability Don won't be charged with anything in regards to his daughter, right? But the stage is set, right? Because we have polluted everyone's perception of Don and Candace. So as at a later date, if something pops up, a new piece of evidence, some sort of, three-way confession, like whatever could pop up in the future, potentially hypothetically, right? We have these systemic issues that are built into the case already. So we've kind of reached, I think, the limit of what I'm willing to go into about the Dobbs situation for right now. I would ask you to keep an eye out for Cam and I believe we're going to be going live at some point today to speak about a few different issues. I also want to take this time to ask any of you who have not, I repeat, who have not signed Summer's petition. I am putting it in the chat now, and I will pin it to the top of the chat. I need all of you guys to go over and sign that petition when we wrap up here. We've got the framework in now. The framework is the actual it's the mechanism of the petition that makes it useful to victims. So no, not at all there, Blue Diamond. No, not at all. In fact, I'm very well versed. I do, however, sometimes use words that people don't understand, and then they get kicked the fuck out of here. Homie, don't play that. Y'all remember that? Damon Wayans in Living Color used to run around with the sock and hit him on the head and say, "No, homie, don't play that." Boy, girl, you got me fucked up. Anyways, got a lot of stuff going on with Don. Just getting things organized. So we will talk after this. Penny statement is being worked on. He said too. Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to do some critical thinking, and I'm trying to just kind of fill in the gaps for Cher and Mark. Right, while they're doing their thing, we can still keep some awareness going on for summer, and we can also do some critical thinking, and we can also implore ourselves to look at some people other than just Don, right? Because we know the statistics, right, of child abduction, and we know the statistics in regards to the way familial abductions play into it. But what we still have is 100 to 300 children every year that are taken by the stranger danger. So there is a real there's a real idea that there's a third party abductor here. I mean, look at the scenario. Every day that we go by and Don and Candace are not in jail it's better for them, not so good for their daughter, right? So be mindful of that, right? Every day that passes and they're not in jail, they are becoming, they are cleansing, right? The internet is purging them, right? But in real life, every day that goes by, some of the pressure lifts up in regards to, the threats and all the other bullshit that we're able to manifest here. Um, you know, it gets better for them in our eyes, right? Each day that goes by, they're less and less guilty. That's the way it is interpreted online. But each day that goes by is worse and worse and worse, and it magnifies by as the days go by, right? Like the stats just start just trimming off the likelihood that this young lady is still with us. So, guys, remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. If you have not signed that petition, take your booty over there and sign that petition. Share it. Share it with someone that has a kid that you care about, right? I thank all of you for joining me this morning. Thank you to all the mods. Thank you to Lizzie. Thank you to the whole gang. And I will see you later on this morning or early afternoon. Thanks, guys.